best-selling author, founder and CEO of Motivating the Masses, award winner, and a philanthropist. She was featured in the world-famous The Secret, which was sold over 30 million copies and helped millions of people around the world. She is a noted media personality who has appeared on Oprah, The Today Show, The Steve Harvey Show, Dr. Phil, CNN, and Fox News, just to name a few, like, no big deal.
No big deal.
We have an amazing keynote speaker about to take over this event. Please welcome to the show, Lisa Nichols.
Hi, I'm your sister friend, partner in creation, Lisa Nichols, and I'm so excited to be with you. I'm so excited to have this necessary and timely conversation. When we talk about navigating through the terrain of 2020, 2021, 2022, the conversation of, can I make it happen? Can I make it happen the way that I know I want it to be created? Can I create the wealth? Can I create the team? Can I create the organization? Can I step up to that? Do I have what it takes? Am I enough? So often as I was building my business and I look back and sometimes when I hear my bio read, I'm blown away. I'm blown away when I hear people say I run a multi-million-dollar corporation or that I touch over 86 million people a year, 7 bestsellers. I'm blown away because oftentimes I ask the question, can I do that? Can I do that when it was out in front of me 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 20 years ago when I was starting my organization? Could I possibly have a global enterprise? Can I possibly have 1 bestseller? Can I possibly even finish a book? And so I want to stop by to encourage you. Your next best version of yourself may look very different than anything I've said already or anything that I've done, but you have your version. You have your version on understanding that you are capable, you are ready, and it's necessary for you right now in this climate. The most perfect moment for you is right now. Like understanding that your belief system is the pathway to your results. And that there are people out there waiting to be touched by you, waiting to be inspired by you. So often I didn't believe that. So often I knew that people wanted to be inspired. I knew that I had something in me. I knew that there was something in me that was calling for something greater. You know that pull? You have that pull that is saying something, I want to know who I can become. I want to touch the next best version of myself. I had that pull at me for so many years. But often what eliminated or what slowed down my progress was my own limiting belief that I could do it, that I was enough. I had a tendency to believe that, for this reason, it won't work for me. Either whether it was, I can't do it because I have this mocha skin, full lips, round hips, and kinky hair. I can't do it because I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. I can't do it because there's a time in my life, more times than I'd rather remember, when I was broke or broken. I can't do it because I struggled with my weight for so many years. I can't do it because the last time I took an English class, I got a fail. Or the last time I took a speech class, actually, I got a D-. And my speech teacher said, Miss Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. There's so many reasons why I felt like I couldn't become that version of me that I saw in my mind, or that version of me that I saw in someone else. You know how you see someone on stage in front of you or on camera in front of you or at an event, and they have glimpses and parts of who you know you can become. You're always going to be your own unique individual, but you see pieces in other people. That's it. Yes, that's it. Yes, that's exactly, that's on the path. And yet something in you, the belief system, the enoughness, the internal conversation, the moment you see it, there's something that says, maybe not so much. Well, I stopped by as your sister friend to invite you to challenge that conversation. I stopped by to confirm that those moments when you see a glimmer of you in someone else, when you see a glimmer of you in the light, when you see a glimmer of you and a message, something touched your soul, it's because It's something in you being born. And that moment, that person is helping to birth that next level you that's coming out. When I realized that there were so many people speaking into the Lisa I was becoming, not necessarily the Lisa I was in that moment, but the Lisa that I was becoming. I mean, there were people back in 2010 speaking into the 2020 version of me. And at times I couldn't see the 2020 version of me because I was in 2010. There's a 2025 version of you. There's a 2023 version of you. Heck, there's a 2022 version of you that's being born right now. And there are people in your space that are speaking to that person. And so it might be difficult in this moment to see all the details. And in those moments, that's when you ask, can I borrow your vision of me? Can I borrow your lenses and look through your lenses and see the person that you see? Oh, and I tell you, so many times people said, Lisa, oh my God, you're going to be a great leader. Oh, Lisa, oh my God, you're going to write great books. Lisa, you're going to touch millions. Lisa, but I couldn't see it. There's no way you could tell me that I would be in Kazakhstan inspiring people that didn't speak English, or that I'd be in Swaziland sitting with the Queen of Swaziland, inspiring her king's son. There's no way you could have told me that I would be over in South Africa sitting with greats. There's no way you could have told me that in 2009 or 2010. I would have disrupted the path because I couldn't see that Lisa yet. I stopped by to invite you to borrow my lenses for you. Borrow my 2020 for you, my 2020 vision for you. Like, I believe that this conversation is not by accident, that this conversation, this experience right now, you're sitting here, I'm standing here, is by divine design. That when you have the ability to orchestrate your current circumstances to manifest something new, when you have the ability to pour into you a new conversation, to plant a new seed, to water that seed with action, with training, with community, with motivation, and water that seed and give that seed light, you birth a new harvest. I am a believer that we are all farmers of a better tomorrow. We are all farmers of a better tomorrow. We all have the ability to plant seeds in ourselves, to plant seeds in others, and to harvest it, and to grow it, and to nurture it, and to grow something new. I believe that. And I don't believe that just superficial. I don't believe that in theory. I believe that because I am a product of that experience. That my yesterday doesn't equal my today. On no uncertain circumstances does it equal. Because in 1994, I'm the same woman that wondered if I could ever see greatness in me. In 1994, I'm the same woman that at Christmas time and at Thanksgiving, I stood in line grateful and embarrassed while I got a free box of food, a turkey, a box of stuffing. I'll never forget it. I wore a cream sweater and black leggings. And I stood in line, both grateful for what was about to happen and that I would have a Thanksgiving dinner, and embarrassed that I had to stand in that line. I'm the same woman who stood in line on Century Boulevard in Los Angeles. I remember it like it were yesterday, waiting for them to call my name so that I can get food stamps. So that I can get assistance, so that I can get the EDT card, so that I can eat, so that I can feed my son. I remember that. I didn't know back then that I could become this woman. So I ask you a question. Who are you becoming? Who's being birthed through you right now? And it's based on the action you take today. It's based on your willingness and your ability to feel like you are worthy of better. That you're worthy of greatness, that you're worthy of abundance, that abundance is your birthright. Abundance isn't a hookup. Abundance isn't a favor. Abundance isn't an accident. Abundance isn't winning the lottery. Abundance is your birthright. Oh man, it took me years to get that. It took me years to say, it doesn't matter my skin color. It doesn't matter my gender. It doesn't matter my origin, my geographical location in which I was born. It doesn't matter that I live between the Harlem Crip 30s and the Rolling 60s. It doesn't matter that I'm functionally dyslexic. It doesn't matter that I got a failing. And none of that matters. Abundance is my birthright. And the distance between you and abundance, the distance between you and what you need, what you want, what you deserve, what you've earned by the mere fact that you were born, is your mindset and your action. You ask me what's the difference between change makers, gladiators, abundant thinkers, and people who are living their dreams versus people who are just having a dream? And I'm gonna tell you, it's your mindset and your action. Are you willing to do the thing you didn't think you can do so you can be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be? Are you willing? Are you willing to push beside comfort? Are you willing to push beside convenience? Are you willing to do that thing that makes your knees knock and your teeth chatter so you can surprise yourself? Because people think that growth and expansion is equal to comfort and complacency or just comfort. I gotta tell you, the majority of my life building myself to be the Lisa that I am today, and I'm not claiming she's perfect. She's far from perfect, but I can tell you she doesn't have very many regrets, if any at all. That journey was riddled with knees knocking and teeth chattering moments. But here's what I'm charging and challenging you to do. Will you hold fear in one hand and courage in the other? Will you hold uncertainty in one hand and conviction in the other? Will you have two hands full? If you're riddled with fear, okay, great, then be wrapped in conviction at the same time. You can coexist in two spaces at the same time. Are you willing to let your conviction outweigh convenience? Are you willing to let your conviction outweigh what you're afraid of? Are you willing? Just let conviction win every single day. Because the majority of my career, I've had knees knocking under my dress. I've had knees knocking and teeth chattering, but it didn't stop me from leaping. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm simply saying I modeled what other great leaders were doing. When I would sit with great leaders, and I've had the pleasure of sitting with kings and queens and leaders and people who will leave an indelible fingerprint on this planet. And I asked them, did you get scared? And they would always chuckle and go, I did most of it scared, Lisa. Oh, I'm waiting for fear to dismiss itself when fear is supposed to be invited on the journey. Fear is fuel. Fear simply lets us know my relationship to fear is different than most. See, fear doesn't stop me. Fear, I go, oh, okay, so I feel it again. That means I'm playing bigger than I played before. And I realized that someone wise told me, Lisa, if you're not having breakdowns, you're not playing big enough. And the bigger you play, sis, the bigger your breakdowns. Oh, so now I get a different relationship with breakdown. So breakdown is okay because it's giving me feedback to develop a more powerful, more systemic system. So now when I understand fear and breakdown are supposed to be on the journey called growth, I'm okay. I'll stop judging myself. Now let's just get going. Because I don't want to build a lifetime for me. I want to build a legacy for my family and for my community and for anyone watching. And when I say my community, I mean my community of Black, white, Asian, Latino, my community of humanity. I want to build an example that you don't have to get it right. You just have to be committed to keep getting back up again. That this is not built on doing it perfect. This is built on resiliency and determination. It's not in your perfection that you're going to inspire the people looking at you. It's going to be in your bounce back muscle that you inspire the people that are looking at you. It's not in the fact that you've never been betrayed or that you won't ever be lied to or that you won't ever lose money. It's the way you bounce back when you're betrayed. It's how you bounce back when you've lost money. It's how you bounce back when you're afraid to make that offer to that person who's looking to be inspired by you. It's in the lesson. So let's get going. Don't be so committed to having to get it right. Let's get in action. Action is the antidote for despair, Joan Baez says. And Lisa Nichols adds, action is a prescription for success. I'd rather do it wrong 1,000 times than never do it once. And so I just stopped by to challenge you. I stopped by to charge you. I stopped by to make it mildly to moderately to significantly uncomfortable for you to live in any form of mediocrity. I stopped by to ask you, are you willing to touch your non-negotiable? Are you willing to touch your no matter what? Are you willing to slide every other option off the table? Are you willing to not wonder what if? Because what if will be that crack in your conviction. What if will be that crack and that chasm in your action. What if it doesn't work? What if they don't like me? What if they tell me no? Every time you say what if, you're telling your soul, I don't believe you can bounce back. Don't worry about the what ifs. I want to invite you to be so radical, so non-negotiable, that you tell that mountain, if you come in front of me, I will command that you bow down. Or I will climb over you, go around you, or go through you. Tell the mountain of doubt, the mountain of haters, or the mountain of naysayers, whatever the mountain might be for you. Tell that mountain, give it notice. I'm absolutely committed to the woman I'm becoming. I'm absolutely convicted to the man that I'm supposed to be. And I came here as your sister friend to bear witness. I came here as your sister friend to show you what I see when I look through my lenses at you. That if you're willing to take radical action, if you're willing to do the things you've never done before, say the things you may have been afraid to say before, if you're willing to be in action in a way that you may not have known you can be in action, you can produce a harvest that will bear the fruit that you've always known that it could bear. So I invite you to stand on 2020, to stand on 2020 versus in 2020. So many people in this climate can allow 2020 to be like sinking sand. I'm going to invite you to have 2020 be a platform. Now, I'm not negating the fact that it has been testing on all of us, but I want to invite you to rise above it and use the strength that you know you have to move forward. And what does that look like? I'm going to be very succinct with you, that before you do something different, you have to invest in your belief system. So number one, believe that you have enough to make it across the finish line and beyond. You are your best bet. Are you willing to bet on you? There's so many times my students will bet on me, but I ask them, will you bet on you? You are the best investment you can ever invest in. You are your own sure shot. You are the best ROI you can ever have. The best return on investment you can ever give will come from you. Are you willing to know that? Are you willing to know I woke up enough? If so, say that with me right now. I woke up enough. I woke up smart enough. I woke up brilliant enough. I woke up young enough. I woke up wise enough. With everything I know, I'm enough. And with everything I don't know, I'm enough. So number one is to believe in yourself and be willing to bet on yourself. And number two, that bounce back from 2020, that lunge forward into 2021, is to recognize that abundance, what I said earlier, abundance is your birthright. Abundance, I used to believe, and I say that because I used to believe that abundance was for some people, but not for everyone. That abundance wasn't for people who look like me. Abundance was for people over there, people who look like that, people who grew up in that community, people who had that family. When I recognize, hold on, abundance is my birthright. And when I say abundance, I don't mean wealth. Wealth is singular. Wealth is unilateral. Wealth is about money and possessions. Abundance is not only about wealth and possessions, it's about the quality of my relationships. It's about the quality of my spirituality. It's about the greatness in my health. Abundance is holistic. Abundance is 360. And abundance is your birthright. And abundance is non-negotiable. And oh, by the way, abundance isn't a hookup. You don't sign up and go on Google and download abundance and click the link, click the hyperlink, and you get abundance. Abundance is something you go after on a daily basis. Your abundance next month has everything to do with your choices today. Your abundance in 6 months has to do with the calls you make today, the number of people that you invite into your atmosphere today, the number of times you share the opportunity today. Abundance is not something that you Google download. Abundance isn't something that you go and you drink. Abundance is something that you invest in on a daily basis with your small choices. Did I call 2 people today? Did I call 10 people today? Did I call 30 people this week? Was I willing to sacrifice and get the no so that I can find my yeses? Abundance isn't just the yes. Abundance is being willing to navigate through the no's. Totally fine, because there is a yes inside my nose and I need to get to my yes. But the first thing is to realize that abundance is your birthright. And then being willing to correct, to course correct. Number 3, are you willing? Are you willing to give yourself permission to be coachable? Are you willing to give yourself permission to be taught? The most brilliant leaders on the planet, every time I talk to a brilliant leader, they're always talking about who they learned from. And one thing became very clear to me: brilliant leaders, I mean, game-changing gladiators, are always students first, which is why they're leading so much, because they're willing to be a student. Are you willing? Are you willing to invest in you to be a student? Are you willing to hook your caboose on someone else's train? Put on your seatbelt, eat your Wheaties and take your B12, hold on tight, and allow someone to take you, to show you the part of you that you haven't seen yet. Are you willing? If you're willing to live in duality, I'm brilliant and I'm a student. I know a lot and I know nothing. Man, when I tell you, when I was willing to live in duality, this is my genius and I have no idea how to do this, and I'm willing to allow them both to live and coexist, then I can be a leader and a student in the same breath. Number 4, understanding that your business is a verb. Business is not static. I teach business leaders and I teach them how to shape their businesses. I teach them how to build their business. I teach them how to launch the business, stabilize their business, and scale their business. And I gotta tell you, when you're launching, it's a verb. When you're stabilizing, it's a verb. And when you're scaling, it's a verb. Are you willing to recognize that business is a verb? Business requires marketing. You got something great, but it's not great if no one knows about it. It's just a great secret. Are you willing? Are you willing to be the bullhorn for your business? And not for what it does, but for the outcome it creates in other people's lives. When you realize that you're in business to relieve a pain or to help someone achieve a desire, and your job is to tell as many people as possible that you can help relieve a pain or you can help them achieve a desire, and your job is to let as many people know that you're here, not you the person, not you the business, but you the solution. When I got that, I realized that it's less about me. You're a servant leader. As a business owner, you're a servant leader. As an entrepreneur, parallelpreneur, you're a servant leader. You're here to serve. Your business is here to serve a need. And so many people need you. So many people are praying, I sure wish she tells me what she's doing. I sure wish he has the courage to show up and show out and shine. Because I have that need, but they don't know they need you. You simply show up and say, here's the pain I relieve. Here's the desire, help come forth. What do you need? And then they get to have that need met. And it's millions and millions and millions of people waiting on you. But are you willing to recognize that business is a verb? It's not a noun. It's not static. It's not stoic. It is a moving, living, breathing organism, an organism of making phone calls, an organism of learning how to lead better, an organism of being willing to train and be trained. That business is the constant look. I'm reminded of Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, and when they launched Chicken Soup for the Soul. And now we know Chicken Soup for the Soul has been in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest standing best-selling series in the history of any series. I had the honor of co-authoring 2 Chicken Soup for the Soul books back in 2005 and 2006 with Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. And I may get these numbers wrong, but I hope you're inspired, even with the incorrect numbers slightly, possibly. I remember they kept asking different publishers before they ever got published, will you publish us? And they kept getting no's. No. They got declined and rejected. They got rejected 144 times. What? How many of us would have stopped at the 10th rejection or the 25th rejection or the 80th rejection, or God knows the 100th rejection, 144 rejections? But here's what Jack and Mark did. They said every day we're going to do it at least one thing. And this is where I might have my numbers wrong, because I think they may have agreed to do at least 4 things, but I'll just say one. One thing every day toward building this business. We're going to make one request every day. And they were relentless to make one more request, take one more form of action, remain in the verb mindset about their business every single day. There wasn't a day that went by where they just sat stoic and wait for business to come. Every day they did something to get the business to grow. And then you fast forward 20 years and they're in the Guinness Book of World Records. First of all, just for the record, Jack's a good friend of mine. I think I could say this. They might be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most no's and the most rejections. Because I don't know too many people that would have kept asking. Are you willing to keep asking? Because when they got that one yes, 144 no's led to the one yes. And the one yes led to a multi-million-dollar enterprise in the Guinness Book of World Records. I'm just saying, your yeses are out there. They're waiting on you. But are you willing to give yourself permission? Do you feel that you're worthy of a yes? Do you feel that you're worthy of climbing past 3 no's or 30 no's or 130 no's? Are you worthy of that? Are you worthy of someone choosing you to be their business leader? Are you worthy of someone pouring into you and teaching you and training you? Because if you and until you recognize your worthiness and that you are worthy of a teacher pouring into you, you're worthy of a colleague trusting you to lead them, you're worthy of a customer saying yes to you, you're worthy of me parting with my hard-earned dollars and giving them to you, you're worthy of that, then nothing else matters. So can we confirm that you were put here on this planet at this time to make a difference? You were put here in this climate, in this 2020 climate, in this 2021 climate, in the political climate, in the social justice climate. Inside this climate, you were put here to make a difference. That the dash between your birthday and the dash between the day you leave this place was put here not to be static in a flat line. That dash was put here to disrupt some people. That dash was put here to inspire some people. That dash was put here to go through something, not to sit in anything, but to go through everything. That dash, called the existence of you, was put here to inspire those around you. That dash, your life, this life right now, you were put here to infect us, to affect us, to disrupt us, to inspire us, to lead us by the way you live, to lead us by the way you love, to lead us by the way you forgive, to lead us by the way you get up, to lead us by the way you press reset, to lead us by the way you recharge. You were put here to lead us. Now I know, again, it feels sometimes like it's scary. You were put here to hold fear in one hand and conviction in the other and leap anyway. After all, that's what leaders do. Leaders are not people who decided, I'm gonna lead today. Leaders are people who decided today, I will rise above my fears. Today, I'll rise above my concern. Today, I'll rise above my pain. Today, I'll rise above my worry. Today, I'll own the right and I'll become a leader. And if you make that choice day after day after day after day after day after week after week after month, then all of a sudden that's the only way people see you, even on the days you need to lay down and rest. I'm not saying you won't get tired, my friend. I'm not saying you won't be discouraged. I'm not here to sell you some pie in the sky, woo-woo conversation. I'm not saying you won't get exhausted. I'm not saying you won't be hurt. I'm not saying you won't have worry and doubt. I'm not saying that. If I were to say that, I'd be a lie. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you won't run out of energy. After the 2020 we've all had. I know personally what it feels like to feel like I've run out of energy. I'm not just physically fatigued, I'm emotionally fatigued. I'm tired of the conversation of social justice. I'm exhausted of looking at who's right and who's wrong. And how about we're not right or wrong? How about we're just all learning and growing? I'm exhausted at getting back up every day, hoping today is easier than tomorrow, or today is easier than yesterday. I'm exhausted and inspiring others when my own tank feels like it's empty. I'm exhausted. So I'm not giving you this message in the absence of recognizing that there's not a lot for us to climb over. I'm delivering this message to say, with all of that, abundance is still our birthright. That 2020 and everything in it does not have the right to rob us of our birthright. And when we allow that, we've given it away. We've handed it over. So I say, go snatch it. And if up until this moment you had handed over some joy, go snatch it back. If up until this moment you handed over some happiness, go grab it back. If up until this moment you handed over some conviction and some certainty and some knowing, because the circumstance felt like it snatched it away, because these are unprecedented times. And sometimes it's so big and so looming, it feels like it just took it away without your permission. Then as your sister friend, I'm saying, snatch it back now. You've been given notice. It always was yours. Your joy, your happiness, your abundance belongs to no one else but you. And if someone or something took it away, it only happened because you let go of it. But here's the good news. It's still yours. Grab it back. Understand and know that you have always been enough, that you're worthy, and that someone's waiting on you to open up a new possibility to them. Someone's hoping and praying that they cross your path, and in that moment, you have the courage, the awareness, the certainty, and the conviction to let them know that there's something for them to consider. I want to remind you that there are people, little people, that are looking at us. They're 4, 6, 14, 19, 25. And they're looking at us. They're looking up at how we show up. They're looking at how we love through these times. They're looking at how we manage our health through these times. They're looking up at us. They're looking at how we navigate. They're looking at how we hang up the phone after the no. They're looking at how we pick up the phone to go to the next yes. That may possibly be a no as well. They're looking at how we show up, how we show out, and how we shine. They're looking up at us, hoping that we give them an example worthy of their attention, hoping that the way we love and the way we show up and the way we stand up and the way we stay loved up and the way we stay prayed up and the way we stay taught up, they're looking at the example. They're looking, hoping that we give them something to hold on to. Our life, your life doesn't belong just to you. It belongs to those who are witnessing us. I know we're going through it. It feels like alone, but we're not. There's a whole tribe. There's a whole community looking at you and watching the way you navigate through such a time as this. If there's ever a time for you to show yourself what you're made of, it's now. If there's ever a time for you to confirm your conviction, confirm your determination, confirm your resiliency, confirm your faith, it's now. If there's ever a time, and you don't just confirm it for you, you're going to confirm it for miles and miles and miles to come, because you have no idea about that 4-year-old who's looking at you, or that 14-year-old who's looking at you, or that 18-year-old who's looking at you. You have no idea how many people will be inspired by your resiliency. All you have to do is continue to hold whatever that thing is in your hand, whether it be fear, whether it be frustration, whether it be questions, whether it be exhaustion, whatever it is you hold in this hand. As long as you hold in this hand conviction and certainty, determination, and perseverance. I say that to say it's not just a unilateral conversation. You don't just have to have perseverance. You get to have some exhaustion with it. You get to have some questions. You get to have both and all. As long as you recognize growth and abundance, your business, it's a verb. It's something you actively pour into on a daily basis. It's something that you actively commit to on a daily basis. It's not about always standing up and staying up. It's about the willingness to constantly get back up if and when necessary. I started this conversation with sometimes you have to see yourself through someone else's lenses. Sometimes you may not be able to see the you that everyone else sees or that just one other person sees. I want to invite you to borrow my lenses of you and for you today. And I don't just say this lightly. There's a reason why you're here and I'm here. Because what I see is a gladiator. What I see is a change maker. What I see is a unique, unrepeatable miracle. What I see is imperfection in its most perfect form. What I see is a change agent, an example of possibility. That's what I see and who I see when I see you. And on the days when you doubt yourself, ask someone that only sees the best for you. Who do you see when you see me? Because there's no way you could have told me 20 years ago that this was Lisa, that this would be Lisa in 2021. There's no way you could have told me 20 years ago that I would be able to touch and inspire so many because I was so broken. I was so afraid as a young mother. I was so heartbroken as a lover. I was so scared and felt like out of control in my health. There were so many things in my life that required up-leveling and fixing and healing. I couldn't see this version of me. And I would have sabotaged this version of myself if you told me this is who I would have been back then, today. So if you can't see all 2,000 miles from now, then can you see 2 miles down the road? Can you give yourself permission to see 200 miles or just 20 miles? Can you borrow someone's lenses? I remember someone told me, Lisa, you're going to gather people. And the first number of people I gathered was 19 people. And of the 19 people, 16 were family. And that was the beginning. And now I look down and 80 million people a year later, it kind of feels like the chicken soup for the soul story with Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, 144 rejections, all the way to the Guinness Book of World Records. I couldn't believe it. And so as we begin to launch more into 2021, shape it and refine it, and we begin to navigate ourselves into 2022 and 2023, I want to remind you that you came into this conversation enough. And your job is to be radical for the person you're becoming. Your job is to be non-negotiable and unapologetic. Your job is to let your light shine brightly, to let your light shine at a whole new level. Your job is not to just set a goal, but your job is to blow your own mind. Your job is to become rooted in your conviction. Your job is to water your conviction with possibility and the right people. Your job is to water your conviction with the right sunlight of action and calls on a daily basis. And then your job is to be willing to accept the harvest that grows, to be ready for the harvest that grows. My grandma says, enlarge my territory so that I'm ready for the harvest that grows when you've done those things. And on that entire journey, I will be cheerleading you on. I will be in the background. And I know you say, but Lisa, you don't know me, but I do know you. My soul knows your soul. My heart knows your heart. Like we're of the same tribe. We're of the same community. In the background, I'll consistently cheer you on. And on the days when you forget who you are, on the days when you get rooted more in doubt than possibility, borrow my lenses of you. On the days when your faith wanes, borrow my faith in you. On the days when your legs are tired, borrow my strength. And then you have a community around you. Remember that you don't ever have to do it alone. You don't ever have to do it alone. Gladiators, change makers, change agents, unicorns, the smartest thing we do is we stay connected to our tribe. And we are in the same tribe. And so as you continue on this journey, I celebrate you. I celebrate you as your sister in prosperity and in possibility. And every single time that I tell you that I believe in you and that I love you, as crazy as that sounds, how can strangers say they love each other easy? Every single time I tell you that I believe in you and that I love you, it's truly because I do. I'm your sister in the journey. I cannot wait to see you and your harvest.
Wow, Lisa Nichols, what a powerful message. Man, that just really, really hit home.